Welcome back to Great Minds Think Alike. I'm Gabby.
And I'm Nick, and welcome to episode 4.
Today, we want to talk about getting ahead financially, physically, and mentally.
Yeah, I mean, that's the general scheme of things, getting ahead in all of those different areas. But what we're going to dive deeper into is 2 specific topics. So one is credit scores and how you can use that to get ahead and, help build wealth. And secondly, we're going to talk about mental health and ways that you can improve it naturally.
So moving on to our business segment, we're going to be talking about credit scores. What is it? Why is it important? And how we can improve it?
Yes, exactly. So, we'll start with the why. Everyone knows you need to have a good credit score. Everyone knows 800 is great, but why?
But why?
Yeah, why exactly is that? So first off, you need good credit in order to buy things with debt. So anything that costs more than you want to spend with the money in your bank, you need credit for. Like a car, if you're getting an auto loan, a high credit score will make those monthly payments cheaper. A house, if you're looking to purchase a house, the monthly payment will be cheaper if you have high credit because the interest rate will be lower and the insurances will go down, right? And also on top of that, you'll be able to afford more home with a higher credit score. Your purchasing power is way more.
So then that brings me to my favorite part about having a good credit score is the credit cards that you can apply to. So with a good credit score, you may not have a credit card limit or you get a higher limit. You also have a lower interest rate, and then you have access to credit cards with more rewards.
Yes, and I want to touch base on that because it's something that I hold near and dear to me. So when you have a good score, you can apply for cards like the Amex Gold or Platinum or the Chase Sapphire. These are dining and travel cards.
Yep.
And not to go too deep into it, but basically you can take a vacation for free. You can have, hotel, flights, things that you get paid for through the points on those cards, but that's only available if you have a good score. So we're looking to maybe go to Italy next year, and we're looking at flights, and almost the whole thing is going to be paid for by the credit card points simply from making timely payments and, following the instructions that we're going to be giving you guys throughout this episode.
We'll talk about credit cards in a different episode. We'll get there.
Okay. So let's jump into now what it is. We talk about why you need it. We have your attention. You want the free trips. You may want to buy a house or a car. Let's talk about what is a credit score.
Explaining what it is going to help you how you can improve your credit score.
Exactly. As we're explaining what goes into it, we're going to be giving little tips on how to increase it.
Yep. The largest portion of your credit score makeup is 35%, and that is the payment history. And that is just your on-time payments.
Yeah, so it's funny. That's 35%, but I feel like if you were to find random people on the street and ask them, what portion of your credit score do you think making your payments on time is? I bet a lot would say 100%.
Yeah.
Isn't that your whole score? But that's the common misconception is that making payments on time, that's only 35% of the equation. So the next most important, coming in at 30%, is the amount owed. So what this means is it's the amount that you currently have on your card compared to its limit. So creditors, they don't like when the balance is close to the limit. So picture this. Let's say, Gab, you have a $3,000 credit limit on a card, and there's $2,900 on it. Even though you're making your payments on time every month, because your balance is so close to the limit, you're still negatively affecting your score for that particular 30% bracket. So making payments on time is simply not enough for you to have a good score. You also have to keep the balances in check.
You can also avoid this by having multiple credit cards and just making sure you don't get close to that limit on each one.
Exactly. And then a little tidbit of advice, it's the 1/3 rule. So they say, to be most optimal with raising your score, don't let your balance go more than 1/3 of what the limit is. So in Gab's example here, if she has a $3,000 balance, she should not let it go over $1,000 and keep making those payments. That's how to get your score most optimally up.
And next we have 15% of your credit score, and that is the length of your history. So how long you've had your credit for.
Yep, and longer is better, right?
Yes, the longer you've had it, the better it can be.
So I have a little tip if there's any parents or soon-to-be parents watching this. This is a great time for you to help your kids build credit by making them an authorized user on a card. As Gab just explained, 15% of their score is simply having it for a while, right? So having credit for a while, if you make them an authorized user, you're getting them a head start on that step. But I will say the card you put them on has to follow the first 2 rules we said. You have to be making the payments on time, and you have to make sure the balance isn't close to the limit, and then make them an authorized user, and you're going to be putting your kid way ahead of the rest.
Yes. If you're not there yet, definitely don't do this though.
So underneath that, coming in at 10% is a credit mix. So basically what that means is having different types of credit.
And the more diversity you have in your credit lines, the better the creditors think that you can be.
Yeah, so what kind of diversity are you talking about?
That's your mortgage loans, your auto loans, school loans, any credit card lines that you have, like an Amex, any department stores like Sephora.
No, exactly. Basically, what they're saying is it's only 10%, but they want to see you have different types of credit. They want to see that you're able to pay your car and a house, or your car and a credit card. If you could show multiple different types of debt being paid off, it increases your score faster. And then lastly, a 10% is new credit. And all that really means is that they don't want you opening up too much new credit too quickly. So if you're getting a house and a car, don't open up another credit card at the same time.
Your credit score will go down when you open another line of credit, just to make you guys aware, but it does come back very easily.
Yep. So just to summarize and bring it all back, having a good credit score is important because it helps you save money long term on things that you're going to be spending money on anyway. A car, a house, credit cards. Having a good credit score saves you money on all of that.
So now we're going to get into our lifestyle segment, and we're going to be talking about mental health. So with mental health, we have boundaries, and boundaries are just the limits that you set for yourself, whether it's with you, your family, your friends, work. It's the most important thing.
No, Gab, question. So I've met you when you weren't good at this, and now I'm with you now that you are good at it. How did you create those boundaries and decide who gets what boundary and when?
So first, you want to identify your values and what's important to you. And for me also, like, I was realizing I was getting burnt out. So you also need to take your mental health into account here too. What is negatively affecting it? What is positively affecting it? How can we bring this all home and incorporate balance, right?
So you find out what you want, and then you see what you need to do to get there, and you cut things out along the way.
And I just want to say, like, I want to empower you to say no, and saying no up front. That's what I used to not do. I would be a yes man. I would have a plan on a certain day already. Someone would ask me to do something. I would try to incorporate all these activities into one day, and then I would go home and I would be so burnt out. Like, that's not sustainable.
Yep. And I want to just emphasize what the point you made there, saying no up front. Nothing's worse than if you know that you're not going to be able to make something, you're on the fence about it, and you tell someone yes and then back out last minute. That's how you get a bad reputation. That's how friends get upset with you. If you're straightforward with them right away, like, hey, I've got a couple things going on that weekend. I will try, but I can't guarantee I'll make it. Then when you say no, it's respectable. And if you show up, it's even better.
Like, you're going to feel like shit if you back out on someone last minute because it's a shitty thing to do. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And in social life, this obviously goes into being social, very important for mental health. But I want to make one statement that, us as humans, we're wired to need social interaction.
Yeah.
So some social life is needed for our mental health to be good, but too much of it can destroy our mental health. Like you just said, you
way
can be
too
burnt
overstimulating at points. So make sure you know when to rest and when is a good downtime for you.
Exactly. It is important to mention the physical mental connection when it comes to mental health. Right? So it is actually scientifically proven. There is a neurological connection that links your exercise with your mental health.
Yeah, I mean, exercise releases serotonin. It decreases anxiety. It decreases depression. I know that lack of motivation is a symptom of that. What you can do is simply take a 10-minute walk around your neighborhood. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just getting outdoors is good too.
Yeah, exactly. And this is all scientifically proven, studied, We're not just making this up. It really exercise.
Google it.
Yeah, I was like, what? Google it. Yeah, no, seriously. It can improve your mood. There's certain transmitters in your brain when you're exercising that are released that are similar to the good part of doing drugs. Like before the come down comes, when you go up, right? That's why they call it runner's high. Things of the sort. It actually, the physical things change the brain waves and help your mental health there.
The biggest motivation is getting out of bed, because I know when I'm in a depressive funk, I just need to be horizontal, just on my bed.
Besides for exercise, another thing that is physical that affects your mental health is the food you eat, the diet you have. So I like to use the fast food example. That when you're eating fast food, it's great at the moment. You're eating that burger and fries, you love it. But later on, you feel gross, you feel lethargic, and worst of all, you feel shame with yourself about your decisions.
And you crash. But what doesn't make you do this when I have a salad consistently for lunch during the week, I feel proud. I feel proud that I did that and made that choice. And you know what? If I'm at work, I might buy a cookie. If I'm getting a salad, I might balance.
Exactly. When you eat something, say like a nice chicken salad with all the right things in it, you'll feel energized, you'll feel happy, and you'll feel proud with yourself.
Yes.
And like you just said, if you could do that all the time, then when you do want, say, that burger or that McDonald's or whatever fast food, you won't have as much guilt and shame.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, I've eaten good all week, I deserve this. And it'll actually taste even better because you don't have the bad association that comes with it.
And we want to remove like any feelings of shame or guilt, like, and anything you've done in the past. Like, let's just have this moving forward.
Exactly.
So some boosters for mental health are going to be, I want to say, verbally grateful. Like, again,
Say it.
if you are horizontal in that bed, just be grateful you have a roof over your head. Yeah. I mean, that's number one.
Yeah.
Going outside is a huge one too. Just that sunlight also brings serotonin. Seeking support. You don't have to do this alone. Whether it's a program, a friend, family member, someone will help you talk it through. Don't hold things inside.
Yeah.
Treating yourself with kindness is a big one. Learning to love yourself. I also should have brought that up when we're talking about boundaries, and like learning to love yourself is a huge part in all of this. Last one is physical movement. Just getting outside, walking a little bit, that totally increases your mood.
No, these are all great tips because all I see out there with these marketing and advertisements is mental health. You're sad, take this pill, take that pill, take that pill, take that pill, take that pill. I can't stand that. You know, yes, some people have severe cases and medication is needed. I'm not saying that that's not a thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people need medication. A lot of people are on it that don't need it, that they could kill their funks by getting some exercise, getting outside, doing these things, but they're just getting prescribed these pills that aren't helping them.
It's not your fault for not knowing this or just thinking, you know, my doctor prescribed me this, sure, let me go on this. Yeah. But I mean, I'd say before you go to the psychiatrist, try these steps first and see how much that your mood can be affected.
Yeah, it is certainly not your fault if you're someone who's struggling with this and you're on some medication that maybe you don't need. I blame corrupt people in the medical industry. I've done some research on this, and it is very evident that there is a lot of money that's made off of certain pills for happiness and, you know, depression, anxiety. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for solutions, that you might want to try these natural ones first before you go and get the psychiatrist a bigger paycheck and a better vacation in Mexico with his family.
Okay, moving on. We are going to be moving on to our real estate topic now.
Yes, just have to throw some jokes in there. But yes, there's many ways that you can naturally boost your mental health before you resort to medication.
Yes. So moving on to our real estate segment, we're going to be talking about the two most popular types of loans.
Yes, and we're also going to be talking about how your credit affects which one is better for you. We'll tie it into the credit segment. So the first of the two most popular is the conventional loan.
And your conventional loan is better if you have a higher credit score.
Yep, that's exactly. So if you have a better credit score, this is most likely, not always, but most likely the best option for you. Some details about this loan: you'll have no mortgage insurance if you put 20% down. Even if you put less, though, it goes away after a certain amount of time.
Yep. And then next, with the conventional loan, you're going to need 5% down. As a first-time home buyer, though, you can take an online course and qualify for 3% down.
Yep, exactly. And these conventional loans, they have stricter guidelines when it comes to your debt ratio.
Yeah.
So basically, what that means is if you're someone who has higher debts, this may not be the best product for you, right? The conventional loan favors someone with low debts, high credit, and good income.
And the last thing on conventional loans is that they're preferable for condos.
And why is that?
Because a lot of condos aren't FHA approved.
Yes, this is very true. I run into this problem often. So that actually transitions us to the next loan, the FHA loan. So of the two most popular, there's conventional and FHA. Mm-hmm. We've gone over the conventional. Now the FHA is better for borrowers with lower credit scores, let's say below 700. Mm-hmm. So you're more likely to have an acceptance on your approval with an FHA loan than a conventional. So I'll break down what I mean by that. If you're someone who has more debt and a lower credit score, you may get a no on your pre-approval for a conventional loan. It says ineligible, right? That's what our underwriting system says. Now, if you take that same exact person with the same exact house and put it on an FHA loan, now it may get accepted because they're much easier on the guidelines of credit scores and debt.
And the minimum down payment for an FHA loan is 3.5%.
Yep, 3.5 down, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. And one big negative about it is that the mortgage insurance is there for the life of the loan. It doesn't drop off when you're at that 20% equity point. Now, I do have to say one little comment. If you put more than 10% down, then it drops off after 11 years. That's still a long time. Mm-hmm. So, basically, the FHA loan is for someone who is either working to fix their credit score, or maybe they just had life happen, some bad events that hurt their score, but they still want to get a house. It is so they still have the ability to, even if they don't qualify conventional. There's more cons on it, but at the end of the day, which loan product is best for you depends on multiple different factors. It depends on your specific situation. So you may have a good credit score, but the FHA loan might be better for one reason or another.
Yeah.
It's just important to sit down and talk with your loan officer about both options and figure out what works best for you.
Call him.
Awesome. So
all right.
That just about wraps up what we need to say for episode 4. So guys, can you give us a quick recap? Episode 4 recap.
So episode 4 recap is getting ahead mentally, physically, financially. How can we apply these credit score tips to my own credit score? This is going to help me buy a house in the future. This is going to help me with any loans that I may have. How can I leverage these loans that I'm working with? And for your mental health, anyone struggling, we want to be a friend to our audience. If you're struggling, you could totally reach out. That's 1. And 2, seek help, seek support. And that's the biggest thing, setting boundaries. That's huge.
Her and I, we go through a lot of things and we do interesting things to cope with it. I will say walks are probably the most prevalent, but if you are struggling, reach out. Maybe we can give some advice on what to do to get out of the slump. Yep. And then the real estate part, I just want to make a quick note. The FHA and the conventional, these aren't the only 2 loans. There's VA, there's USDA, there are other loans out there. These are just the most popular, and we really just scratch the surface on each one of them. It just, what I want you to take from this is that you need to look at both of them when you're buying a house and figure out which fits your situation the best.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe.
Yep, thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Have a good
Bye.
one.